Okay guys, I've been just dying to show you this video. It's about a table saw. If you're in the field, you're going to use an outfeed roller of some sort. Just make sure it's in line with the table saw and that roller is perpendicular to the blade perfectly. It should be parallel with the tail end of the table saw. A lot of times you're going to wonder, when do I use a push stick? And the minimum you want to do between the blade and the fence is 1.5 inches if you're not going to use a push stick. But you can see that's pretty danger close. So use a push stick. This is, there's lots of ways to make them. This is a good little way to do it. Mine's on the side there. That riving knife, the more I play around with the table saw, the more important that little guy becomes. Look at this. If that outfeed roller receives the material and you pull the cutoff piece towards you, that piece is going to hit the riving knife and not the blade. And right there, if it was to make blade contact, it's going to have a tendency to shoot it out towards you, right towards the baby maker. Nobody's going to like that. So, check this out. While I'm pulling the cutoff piece, what's pulling the other piece? The outfeed roller. That's really important to know because, it can cause an injury. I love the feature on this table saw. It's got a cable, attached to a release on the far left side, and it takes the riving knife in, off and on, so simple. You don't need a wrench. You put the throat plate back on, and there you go. There's going to be times when you don't want a riving knife on, and this is a case where I'm going to do a plunge cut. Let's say you have like a heat vent or something. You want to cut it out. You take that riving knife off. In this case, it's super easy. You just hit the release, pull it up, and then you're going to keep it tight against the fence, nice and parallel, and then just slowly plunge it down onto the table saw blade. Make sure your blade's really sharp. That way, if you got to creep it backwards a little bit, you can. But use the front of the saw as like a pivot point, and then you just rest it on the blade and then push it forward when you're ready, right up to your line. The other time that you wouldn't want a riving knife on is when you're scribing something. And yep, we're going to scribe this crown. And all you got to do to scribe crown, guys, is just find the bevel that matches the top of the crown. And here's why. It happens to me all the time. If you do a lot of crown molding in the kitchen, chances are you're going to find a joist that hangs low and they drywalled over it anyway because somebody wasn't paying attention. It happens pretty often. Not all crowns built the same, though. You can tell on this one, it's got a really small leading edge, and that guy, or on that particular project, they had to be floated with drywall. There's nothing else to really do. So in this case, I filled all those back in with flat stock because the front leading edge of the crown wouldn't let me scribe it to the ceiling. It turned out fine, but it was a lot of just finicky work and took a couple hours. Not the end of the world. I mean, that's crown molding can be a little bit tough. But if you know how to scribe it to the ceiling and you can get away with it, most times you can, that's how you do it. You just find your bevel at the top of the crown, match your blade up to it, and when you have, and this is just a test piece, this wasn't like live action hero stuff, so I'm just going to take like 1/4 inch out of this, going from 0 to 1/4. This is like a typical thing that would happen in a kitchen where you just have one spot in the drywall that hangs down low, and you just freehand that, move the fence out of the way. You're going to freehand this. It's not a parallel cut. And you're just going to slowly nibble away up to your line. Do not cut through your line. You won't know where you're screwed up. So if you put a straight edge on that, you can tell that, there's a space there. And I nibbled it away, and it's good. The next trick is definitely worth watching. Every book that involves carpentry and table saws has this little trick where you're just going to go across the top of the table saw blade. Everybody knows this one, but I'm going to show you something that's really unique. A lot of guys make crown molding out of this or cove molding. All you got to do is clamp down some straight edges the width of your board, and then raise the blade up about 1/16 of an inch with each pass. And within a couple passes, you're there. And so you're starting to form a concave shape in this piece of wood. The cool thing is I discovered one time, because I did this with MDF, but I wanted to veneer it. And I thought I saw it done, but I wasn't quite sure exactly how they did it. So then I came up with my own way to do it. I don't know if anyone else knows this trick. If you don't, welcome to the second person that knows this trick. I don't think it's very popular, but this is pretty cool. If you take a piece of veneer, and you can order veneer, my go-to place for veneer is either oak wood veneer or certainly wood veneer online. Really easy. It's pretty inexpensive. You can get exotic hardwood veneer there, either one of those places. And it's pretty flexible, but if you find a piece of PVC that matches that radius, oh shoot, it doesn't quite match that radius, and this is where the trick comes in. Now, initially I've set up everything to be 45 degrees to that blade. But if you go to beyond 45 degrees, let's say it's like 60 degrees. All right, go the other way, say it's 25 degrees. The tighter that is, the smaller the radius. And then you can match the radius. Pretty easy. It doesn't have to be 45 degrees. In fact, most times it shouldn't. And in this case, if you want to match it up with a 3-inch piece of PVC, it's not 45 degrees. It's quite a bit less. It's more parallel with the blade than 45 degrees. Does that make sense? You lay that piece of veneer into a bed of glue, set the pipe on top of it, and let's pretend that's 8 foot long. I use this little trick a lot because it makes my stuff look like I know what I'm doing, and it just adds a little bit of character. This is a coffee table. The first image was my dining room table, but down the coffee table leg, around the border, even in my bathroom, I've always been a fan of walnut and red oak, the contrast, and I put these little elements in there, and it just dresses it up quite a bit, and I love it. So you can have this as a frieze that goes around as a crown molding in a room. And all you got to do is whatever your math is when you sandwich it between two pieces, which is my go-to move, is you just cut it to that size. You put the pieces together, point to point, and you trap it. All you got to do is lay it in a bed of glue, and then this myth is busted. The rest of it is on your own, however you want to implement this design into your work. But that's Table Saw 101. Try to stay safe and try to stay busy. Good luck, guys.